Hi, this is Mark from WP Mayor. In this video, we're going to be reviewing the MotoPress slider plugin. Now, sliders are quite commonplace on many WordPress sites, and even though they've got some stick recently for possibly slowing down some sites or not fitting in with the latest web design trends, there are still some great options for you to use. In fact, as long as you find a slider plugin that looks great, works smoothly, and doesn't bog down your site, you can create some impressive sliders that can really grab your visitors' attention. One of these is the MotoPress slider. MotoPress slider is a WordPress plugin built for you to easily create sliders, galleries, as well as slideshows, even incorporating some smooth effects and layers. With this plugin, you'll be able to create beautiful slideshows just the way you want them, and all through an intuitive interface and a responsive layout. All you have to do is drag and drop the elements where you want them to be, and voila, your slider is ready to go. The sliders are fully responsive, ensuring that they look great on any device, and it's even optimized for touch devices. Adding text, links, images, and videos is very easy, and each one can be individually animated since they have their own layers. In fact, you can even sort the layers by simply dragging them up or down. Since I mentioned videos, it's also worth mentioning that MotoPress slider allows you to incorporate YouTube and Vimeo videos also, all by simply adding the link. All these settings are laid out in a simple layout that helps you get things done fast and effectively. Installing and getting MotoPress slider set up is a very easy process. All you have to do is add the plugin as you would with any other plugin by uploading the file and installing it. Then you activate the plugin. Once that is done, you see MotoPress slider show up in your dashboard's left side menu. Right now you can see a slider I had previously created, and this is the slider screen where all your sliders will appear. You also have an option to import and export any sliders that you need. There are also MotoPress slider options. From here you can decide whether to disable MotoPress slider for any particular user groups. These are the editor, author, contributor, and subscriber, and this will hide it from the selected groups menus. There is also a license section where you can enter your license key depending on the one you've got. Let's start with setting up our first slider. All we have to do is click on Create New Slider, and here we will give it the title. We'll leave it as New Slider. We can create an alias which will later be used for the shortcode. And as you can see, the slider shortcode automatically updates. You can choose to use forceful width, which will make the slider the full width of your screen. You can give the size of the layers grid, So in this case, we'll put a height of 580. Enable slideshow. You can add a slideshow delay. This is basically the time that one slide stays on the screen in milliseconds. So this will be a 7-second stay on the screen. You can also choose to activate pause on hover, whether to reverse the order of the slides, and whether to show the counter for the number of slides on the slider itself. Once you're ready and happy with your options, just click Create Slider. We can now start adding our slides. So if we click on New Slide, we'll get the new slide settings. So from here, we can give it a slide title. We'll call it First Slide. You can set whether to set it as published or draft. And then we can add text, images, buttons, and videos right from there. And we can even delete a layer or delete all the layers that we've created. So let's create our first slide. We can change the background color. So we can make it a gradient or a solid color. We'll leave it as white to black. You can even set the gradient angle. You can add images either from a media library or from an external URL. You can set the size, choosing between cover, contain, percentage, and normal. You can choose whether to repeat or set no repeat, as well as the position of the image. If we add the image from here, let's say we'll add the WP Mayor logo. We can put it to the left for now. And then you will see the layer settings for this particular layer show up at the bottom. You have the position, the width, the animation option, the end animation option, the display at time, so that it will start appearing after 1 second. We'll leave that at half a second, and the hide at option, so it will disappear half a second before the slide ends. We can choose to make the image link, so we will link it to the WP Mayor website, and we've even got the option to add custom classes and link custom classes. Once you're ready and happy with your options, click on Save Slide. As you can see over here, you have a layer sorting area where your first image layer has appeared. So let's add a second layer. Let's add text for the time being. And you will see it appear there. And now we can change the text from here. We can change its style. So we can make it header white, since it will be appearing on the dark background. You can also choose to make it, can also choose to add custom classes, and once again, you can choose when to display it and when to hide it, as well as the animations at that time. So now, as you can see, there are the layers on the right hand side where you have one link and one image. Where you have one text and one image. We can even add buttons. So we can change the button text. In this case, let's make it view here. You can add the link. Give it a style of your choice. So you have either a blue button, or a green button, or a red button. We will leave it as blue, and once again, you add the display times and the animations of your choice. And once again as well, the sorting layers have appeared on the right hand side. These can be dragged as needed up and down. Let's save the slide and close. And that is our first slide. Now let's create a second one. This time we'll be adding a video. So we will click on Add Video. In this case, we'll be using the MotoPress content editor video from MotoPress themselves. We can resize the video. Place it towards the middle. And here we'll have the video options. So as you can see, you have the YouTube, Vimeo, or media library options for where to get the video from. You can set a preview image URL of your own. You can set the video to autoplay, to loop once it has finished, to be muted. You can hide the controls. You can disable it on mobile, and once again add your custom classes. You can also set the width and height that you need for your video. We also have to change the slider title to the one of our choice. You also have the video settings from the top menu. You also have link settings, where you can link the entire slide and choose to open it in a new window, you can add a link ID, class, rel, and title. There's also a visibility option. In this case, you can choose either to only make the slide visible to logged in users, or you can choose to make it visible from and to a certain date time period. So let's say you only want it visible during a time period when an offer is going to take place. You can set it to appear for that 1 week when the offer is available, and then it will automatically be removed after that. There's also a miscellaneous section where you can add a class name and CSS ID. Now let's save the slide and we close. Here we can see our first and second slides. Once again, if you want to change their order, you can do so by simply dragging and dropping. Now to display our slider, all we have to do is go to the page in question. So we'll be using the slider page, sample page, and add the slider shortcode of our choice. In this case, I'll be using the slider that I had previously created. So yeah, let's add the shortcode, publish or update, and when you view the page, your slider will automatically appear on that page with the settings and everything else that you've chosen. As for the documentation and support, MotoPress offers various documentation and support options for when you need a helping hand. The documentation for MotoPress is split into two. You have a getting started guide as well as a developer docs. Now, since the plugin itself is rather simple and intuitive to use, the documentation isn't too detailed, and to be honest, it doesn't really need to be. Having said that, if there's something that you can't figure out, you can always contact their help desk and they will help you out there. And if you want, there's also a pre-sales section where you can contact the support team with your pre-sales questions. Lastly, with regards to licenses and pricing, as you can see on this image, there are 3 licenses available for the MotoPress slider. The first is a personal license that allows for 1 installation. The second is a business license, which allows for installations on up to 5 websites. And finally, the developer license, which is the most worthwhile license that gives you the freedom of using MotoPress on as many websites as you wish. All licenses come with 1 year of updates and support, as well as priority support. The developer license also includes priority developer support for those looking for something extra, and there's also a volume licensing program for developers and team providers. In conclusion, the MotoPress slider has been very easy to use and easy to set up. You have enough settings and options to create the slider that you need with the details that you need. You have the options of adding those custom touches with CSS that you might require, and it can all be completed in a very short period of time. Your ability to embed YouTube, Vimeo, HTML5 and background videos is very useful, as are the layers that you can drag and drop depending on your requirements. As I already mentioned, the settings and the layout of your settings and options is very intuitive and very easy to get used to. So if you're looking for a WordPress slider plugin that will do a great job while not being too overwhelming, then you should give MotoPress slider a chance. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the review.